From the beautiful Golden Isles of coastal Georgia, Golden Isles Primitive Baptist Fellowship presents Sunday Morning Devotional with today's speaker, Pastor V. Vernon Eckleberry. Join us every Sunday at 9 a.m. on this YouTube channel. And now here's Pastor V. Vernon Eckleberry with today's message.
Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Morning Devotional brought to you by Golden Isles Primitive Baptist Fellowship. I'm V. Vernon Eckleberry, and this morning I have a lesson for you entitled, How to Finish the Race. But first, here's Brenda to sing The Last Mile of the Way.
If for Christ I proclaim the glad story, if I seek for his sheep gone astray, I am sure he will show me his glory when I've gone the last mile of the
The last mile of the way. That goes along well with our lesson this morning entitled, How to Finish the Race. But first I'd like to say that we invite you to visit us at primitivebaptist.org, primitivebaptist.org. And there you can leave us a message as well as read something about the Golden Isles Primitive Baptist Fellowship and other things pertaining to the Primitive Baptist Church. And also I invite the viewers in the Evans County area to worship with us this morning, 11 o'clock at Bay Branch Primitive Baptist Church. And now the lesson, How to Finish the Race. This is taken from Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. Let me begin by telling you about Derek Redman. He's a retired British sprinter, and in the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona, Redman tore his hamstring in the 400 meters race, but he continued on limping around the track. When he came into the home stretch, his father came down from the stands, and leaning on him, Derek managed to complete a full lap as the crowd gave him a standing ovation. For Derek Redman, finishing was his prize. Now, that's the spirit of our text this morning, found in Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him that endured such contradiction or hostility, such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied and faint in your minds. Now, I'd like to read to you a literal translation of that from the New Living Translation. This will help me to help you understand what the various words in our text mean in our modern English language. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Now he is seated in the place of honor beside God's throne. Think of all the hostility he endured from sinful people, then you won't become weary and give up. So first of all, let us look at the contest here. Let us run, Paul says. The scene is a great coliseum. The occasion is a long-distance foot race. The race is not against other Christians, but a race against the course, and even ourselves. Every trial that tests us and would get the best of us is that which we are racing against. The race is the Christian life. Now here's the way Paul places it in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 24, or 1 Corinthians chapter 9, rather, beginning at verse 24. Know ye not that they which run a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. But I keep under my body, and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Now let me read this to you also in modern English, so we get more of a sense of what Paul is saying. Don't you realize that in a race, Everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize. So run to win. All athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away. But we do it for an eternal prize. So I run with purpose in every step. I am not just shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified. And again, I remind you that the race is not against other Christians, but against every trial that tests our faith and would impede our progress. Now, let's look at the crowd of which Paul speaks. We're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. This describes rows and rows of spectators. A great cloud is a large group. Those in the stands are all who comprise the faithful that are described by Paul in chapter 11 of Hebrews. They witness through their own lives how the race is run and how the race is finished. And they, by their example, encourage us to run well. So let's look now at the contestants. We are compassed, Paul says. Let us run. So Paul includes himself, the Hebrew converts, and Christians throughout the ages, including you and me. All who are embarked on the adventure of faith, the race is set before us, so let us run. And then we'll look at the course. It is God who lays out our journey before us. Its length, its obstacles, its twists, and all of its turns are His doing. A course we run successfully by following Jesus, who said, I am the way, and follow me. One might be tempted to drop out along the way, and so Paul encourages us to run with endurance. Now finally, the challenge is to finish the race. We finish by laying aside every weight, Paul says. That is dressing for the contest, shedding things that otherwise would weigh us down, like the runners in the Olympics or any athletic contest would. Paul says to the Christians in Ephesians chapter 4 that we should put off the old man, the things of the natural man that weigh us down, and put on the new. We also finish by defeating the sins that so easily beset us or defeat us. For runners, these are the flaws that constantly hold them back. For Christians, these are the weaknesses that hinder our progress in the faith. Think of all of the great athletes whose careers were hampered and cut short by the weaknesses of the flesh. Now we finish also by running with patience, Paul says. The Greek here means the quality of character which does not allow one to surrender to circumstances or succumb under trial. That is, to faithfully endure whatever challenges life may throw our way. It means keeping one's eyes on the finish line and the prize that awaits us there. And we finish then by looking to Jesus. Paul says he is the author and finisher of our faith. Author here in the Greek means a pioneer, a pathfinder, the one who makes the way, the one who goes before us. The finisher here means in the original one who shows the way to the end, that shows us how it is that we run the race and cross the finish line at last. Paul says, consider him. Look at how Jesus did it, so that we might not be wearied in the contest that we are engaged in. At the Olympic Games, we have seen runners crawl across the finish line. We have seen lunge across the tape and then fall to the ground. We see some that are barely able to lift their legs. We see tears flowing down the cheeks and runners gasping for air. But they finish regardless. May we also keep the faith and finish like those that Paul mentions in the 11th chapter of Hebrews. These who ran the race before us and finished now are in the stands cheering us on in our adventure of faith. Paul encourages us to listen and to look and study these great men and women of the faith, so that we can lay aside every weight, sins that so easily beset us, and run that race with patience, endurance in our own lives. And now, may God be with you till we meet again.
Thank you for being with us today. Join us each Sunday morning at 9 a.m. right here on this YouTube channel. God bless you, and may you have a joyful Lord's Day.